Brodes Media.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? This episode's a little unique, so I had to do a post-game show over on Bleacher Report the second the final out happened. So instead of just re-recording and saying the same exact things, the first 20 minutes of this show is going to be that. And then at the end, I took your anytime hotline calls like I normally do, and I sandwiched it together, if that made sense. So that's what I elected to do tonight. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate all your support. Don't forget, you can find me on your podcasting platforms. And if you want to leave a 5-star rating and a review over on Spotify or Apple Podcast, all you got to do is search Sports Talk with Brodes and take me on your car rides with you. I greatly appreciate it. And lastly, memberships here on YouTube. It gives you access to Coffee with Brodes live streams Mondays and Thursday mornings at 11 a.m. You're not going to want to miss it. You also get the link to our Discord channel. All the information is down below in the description. Thank you guys all so much and enjoy the show. That's a gorgeous win in Fenway Park. The same day you hear the awful news that J.T. Realmuto is going to miss 1 month with right knee surgery, and that's if everything goes well. As we hear with the Trey Turner stuff, when they were ready to fly out to Colorado, there was a mini setback. He was supposed to be running the bases. They took sort of a softer approach with it all. So my point is, you never know what's going to happen with this 1 month. That does seem a little bit too short of a time period to get surgery in your right knee. So we'll see what happens. But when I look at this team, I'm not telling you it's not a big deal for the fall. It's not a big deal for October. Yes, you need JT if you want to reach your prime and go all the way to the promised land. But do you have enough to survive until he gets back into action? The answer is absolutely yes. And that's why the question of the Bleacher Report stream here is, how concerned are you about JT's surgery? Your two options: very nervous, or this team is good enough to overcome. And for me, it's obviously the latter. All right. And it's a big deal. I mean, this news dropped today right around first pitch, maybe a few hours before. No, actually, I think it was about 1:45 or so. So I take that back. It was a hell of a day for me. So I'm getting my hours mixed up. But regardless, it was some big news today for Phillies land. It was after you get back from London, after blowing a save. And speaking of blowing saves, I was informed that Jose Alvarado had no idea how to pitch, yet he shuts it down. Matt Strahm with a beautiful 8th. Okay, Zach Wheeler with 7 strong. After a shaky start, Schwarbombs first pitch, Phils are up 1-0. Schwarbombs making a statement. Not only is it June, not only is it time for him to flip the damn calendar, but we're also sitting in a position to make a statement as a leader and as one of the top men in that clubhouse that JT not being here for a little bit of time, it's okay, because we have enough firepower, and I will take that step to start hitting bombs and hitting home runs. I will do my job. Follow me. All right, that's what it's all about. So the fact that you go up early with a missile, an absolute missile off his bat, and with a blink of an eye, the game's tied up because they got to Zach Wheeler. Very unfortunate, but then he settles in beautifully. He only had 88 pitches or so, so he was very efficient. And I was also informed that Garrett Stubbs didn't know how to call a game for Zach Wheeler. Let me tell you something. If the difference in Zach Wheeler being able to be a sensational weapon is JT Realmuto or Garrett Stubbs behind the plate, then Zach Wheeler isn't what we thought he was. All right. Now, maybe just to show you the importance of calling a game, if JT could be the difference in Wheeler going 7 or 7 2/3, okay, maybe. But it's not the difference in Zach Wheeler being able to go 7 or 4 innings and getting rocked for 5 earned runs. Garrett Stubbs' job and Marchand's job right now is to not hurt the team. That's what it is, right? They don't have to be superstars. They don't have to be absolute game changers. They need to be fine. They're backup catchers. And they're going to be playing more of a role right now. So normally when backup catchers are forced to snag more time, it's not lovely. But the job is right now, don't hurt the team. And as long as you get what you're supposed to get from Bryce, from Kyle, and Trey Turner will be back soon, by the way. That is who can slot back into that two-hole in between, sandwiched in between Kyle and Bryce Harper. So the worry that JT's bat behind Kyle, what are you going to do? Well, it's obvious that you should be getting Trey Turner, whether it's in Baltimore right after you leave Fenway Park. So right then and there, you're right back to what it was going to be anyway. That was going to happen. The second Trey touched the diamond again, he was going to be getting that second spot in the lineup right back. So it was inevitable that that change was about to occur anyway. So the one issue that I think will start to pop up is the Rojas's of the world. And keep in mind, we're still waiting for Brandon Marsh as well, who was getting some time with the Iron Pigs. He missed the London trip. There was actually a picture of him that was flying around Twitter when the guys were in the UK, and they were I mean, he was, sad. I mean, it looked like that dude was going to cry as he was walking on the field, and I probably would feel the same exact way. This has been on my schedule forever. When you know the season's getting started, hey, we got a trip to London together. The fellas, it's going to be a blast. We're going to have a great time. He's a huge part of this team emotionally and on the baseball field as well, and it gets stripped of him. But he's going to be back, and when he gets back, it's going to help out. It will hurt, though, when you're sitting with the Rojas hitting 9, Stubbs hitting 8, you're 7, 8, 9. It's probably going to get ugly at times. It's not going to be perfect, okay? But it's more about, do you have enough to continue to win regular season baseball games until JT gets back? And the answer for me is yes. Yes. Now, is there some fear that with JT being a catcher, the fact that he's going to be constantly squatting and he will be, utilizing his knees, and that's something he's getting surgery on at his age too? Is there something about getting comfortable again playing the sport? And then, by the way, getting back into the dish and being comfortable in the batter's box and the timing and not seeing pitches actively, is that going to cause some concern? Well, it's the middle of June. So if you have middle of June to middle of July to middle of August into the middle of September, that is 3 months. All right, it's not going to be pretty for this entire 3 months, and you do miss a lot with his ability to be a threat behind the dish and his ability to gun guys out. But I saw Garrett Stubbs with a major gun out here, and they had to replay it, but the swipe tag from Bryson Stott at the top of the helmet was very solid, and it was very good, and that was a Garrett Stubbs bonus on top of his hit to right field. So, I'm just talking about surviving until JT gets back. And then what version of JT do you get when he comes back? Well, Joel Embiid had meniscus injury, and he ended up having a few weeks. And then, he's playing into the postseason. He's dropping 50. He's almost scoring 40 in a closeout game. And that's a man who is 7 foot tall and running up and down the floor trying to jump. Was he limited jumping? No doubt about it. But JT is a guy that seems to be battling through everything. Hell, I mean, apparently he had the meniscus tear as he was performing recently. The guy was playing with a bit of the injury, but then they realized, let's get ahead of this thing. Let's not push it deeper into the season, because worst case scenario is you're going to be active for the next month or two. Something will go wrong, and then that timeline to get back will shrink heavily, and now we are in way deeper of a problem. So let's be smart. Let's be intelligent here. And this is also a big reason why I love the fact that they got out to such a massive lead with this division and they were winning games early. Because if they were in the same predicament that they've been in years past, now granted, the Atlanta Braves aren't necessarily beating up teams left and right. So maybe if the Phillies did struggle out of the gate, they would be in closer reach. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Just normally, we have been accustomed to the Braves being scorching hot, and now you have to play catch up. And if you're playing catch up without one of your big bats, it makes it that much harder for you to roll through these towns and win all these series on the road. And, when you're constantly playing from behind and you're crawling your way and trying to get closer to the top of the division, it's hard. Now that, 1, you got the confidence, 2, you got the swag, 3, you got Kyle Schwarber in June now. That's pretty important. The middle of June took him a while, and I honestly thought he could have had 3 bombs tonight, swear to God. In that one at bat, he fouled one off. I'm like, damn, dude. And I think Kyle knew it too. You saw his facial expression. This is something that I could drive. This is something that I could put into the stands, especially in Fenway. I don't know. There's something for me watching Kyle Schwarber do it in that ballpark. Maybe it's because what he once did in that ballpark and it stayed with me for some reason. I don't know. But a Schwarbomb in that ballpark hits different. And the fact that we got 2 in a night, could have had 3, and the first one happened on the first pitch. That's leadership, and that's what this team is going to be about without the backbone. And yeah, that's right. It wasn't too long ago that Nick Castellanos, I believe it was Nick, called J.T. Realmuto the backbone of this team. So if you are ripping the backbone out of a squad, what do you do if that's the case? You go in for 1. Your ace takes the mound and goes 7, allowing 1 earned run. Throws 88, and that filthy, disgusting 86-mile-per-hour backdoor slider to a left-handed hitter after throwing 95 cheese, 95 fastball. This thing was sitting pretty on the outside part of the plate. Ew, just disgusting stuff, and disgusting stuff out of Matt Strom, too. Is he serious? First, he works a full count, and you wonder, all right, not in the 8th. Was it time to pull Zach? Did you have to pull Zach? You're going to the bottom of the lineup for the Boston Red Sox. Was it smart? Here's a full count. Let's not put the first base runner on. Please. Gets a K, and then, just another K, and then, just another K. Matt Strom throwing gas and putting a fastball. Nothing that creative, too. Hey, here it is. Show me you could do something against it. Really. This is what I got. Do something with it. Now, Sosa ended up striking out on a fastball, just a meatball over the heart of the plate as well. Couldn't pull the trigger. He got frozen. He freezed up a bit. Oh, my God. Come on, Sos. Come on, Sos. You've been too good of a hitter for us. Now, let's get to this Dominic Smith error, which then allowed the Phillies to pounce and score a couple runs. I watched the replay maybe 8 or 9 times just so I can try and see if there was truth to my thought process. And I don't know the answer yet, but I lean towards I'm right. Shocker. But truly, I do lean that I'm right. And what I'm talking about is if you go watch David Dahl run the first base, I'm not supposed to be given moral victories. Maybe moral victory is the wrong phrase here, but am I supposed to be given a bunch of golf claps for a Major League Baseball player who just got recalled back up to the majors and his pretty much MLB life is on life support? Am I supposed to be giving him so much love for hustling down the first base? Probably not. But if you go back and watch, I'm pretty sure, I lean towards I'm on to something here. Go watch the pressure he put on Dominic Smith by the way he ran to first base. He's not Johan Rojas. He's not a speedster. He's not Usain Bolt by any means. But for his ability, for what he's capable of doing, moving the legs and swinging the arms, okay? He worked his ass out of the box. He got down there. He was like a step or two. I think over at first base, you could feel his breath. You could hear his strides, and maybe that played a role in the inability to catch the baseball. All right, now I don't know. I'm just saying I watched it a bunch, and I think I lean that way. And credit to Bryson Stott, too, for him scoring, because he was hustling around the bases, too. And it was a no-brainer that he was going to score after that mistake. And you have to make teams pay. That's what you have to do. When they are going to shoot themselves in the foot, I need to see runs get across the plate. I have to. And it not just be limited, meaning, all right, the Red Sox are lucky the Phils only scored one there. No. I want you to score two. I want both to score. And they did. And they did, to their credit. And this was after, Bryson Stott had a leadoff double. He doesn't come around to score. That hurt big time. Bryce Harper with the leadoff walk. And you go, all right, can we do something with it? And then, as I alluded to, obviously, you do get 2 runs when you had the error there. But good for the Phils, man. Good for the Phils. What do you do when a team blows? And I'm not saying the Red Sox blows, but in that particular play, crap. That's not sharp baseball. And I've been on the other end of that way too many times. Sloppy defense, bad Phillies baseball, and all I saw were other teams coming to Citizens Bank Park prior to this new fresh life that we had over the last couple of postseasons. And I watched the Phillies crumble, and I watched the Phillies fail because they had no idea how to make winning plays. They made losing plays nonstop on a night-to-night basis. So I've been on the other side, and I don't want to go back there again. But I do want to be a part of the team that gets to dance around in the clubhouse afterwards, celebrating with high fives because, the other team started to make mistakes, and we made sure that we scored because of it. Awesome. Just an awesome, incredible game for this team. I'm so proud of them. Remember, Stubbs is not a stiff. He's not an everyday catcher. So there is going to be bumps and bruises along the way. It's not going to be perfect. I don't really know what to expect from Marshawn, but I'm okay with the team and thinking about the expectation still being a World Series at the end of the day. Maybe some of these games over the next month and a half. I guess my biggest issue with this whole thing is I'm not buying into the timeline. I don't think it will only be a month. Now, they have more information than we do on the situation, obviously, and it does seem like Dave Dombrowski is getting right out and open in front of it. Hey, the second that the news comes out, there's a press conference. He's speaking. Rob Thompson's answering questions. But, they're trying to sell more positivity than not. I'm wondering, is a 1 month timeline when we get an update and he's stretching, he's throwing the baseball, and, if in 1 month we see that he's taking steps to getting back, it's like, look, that's where he is a month from now, or it's a month from now he's behind the plate calling a game, right? Like, I just don't know if I necessarily believe the timeline. It's probably a little bit longer than what they're anticipating, or at least what they're saying. I'm wondering if the 1 month is when we see some version of baseball activity again, more so than baseball again, if that makes sense. But the question becomes, if I'm going to look at the timeline of, can we still go win a championship? Does anything change in my expectation of a title? And the answer is absolutely not. So it might be a different roller coaster ride to get to the postseason over this 162, but it might not. It might not. This team is damn good. And so far this year, we're playing with fire. Don't get me wrong. And it would be naive to think every time someone goes down, somebody else will step up. But to this point, the DNA of this team is when Trey Turner goes down, Sosa comes in and pops a 300. You know what I mean? So it's been as if, someone goes down in left field. Here's David Jahl, who's been hitting some home runs, a double off the wall. So far, every time someone's been able to do something, and it doesn't necessarily need to be Stubbs or Marshawn that elevate themselves to some crazy tier, because I don't expect that to be the case. I just need them to be fine. I need them to be serviceable. Some days might be underwhelming. There might be a weak stretch of disappointment, but can it be Bohm? Because Bohm's been quiet now. Bohm went off in the beginning of the season, and you could tell that he's frustrated. His body language after some at-bats, whether he gets robbed, whether there's a sensational defensive play that steals him from getting another hit or so, and I just think he needs time to work out of this, but now he's down to 290. So Alec Bohm is a little quiet. What happens if he starts to get scorching hot again? And if you go to his game log, so he's hitting 290 now. What he was hitting at his best, he wasn't going to keep up 364, right? But when they were in San Francisco in early May, wow, it was early May. That was early May. Geez, time is flying by. He was hitting 360. It's been a steady decline since then. Makes sense. Not going to keep up 360 forever, but it is down to 290, and you can see 340, 338, 329, 330, 314, 311, 307, 304, 298, 291, 290. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, if Alec Boehm starts to bring it up again and hit 310 and move up his batting average a couple ticks while JT's not in the lineup, and if Nick Castellanos can maybe continue some of this power that we've seen over the last 2 weeks or so, then you can make up for the no JT in your lineup. The difference big time is more about, and I'm not trying to diminish his ability to call a game or diminish his ability to play ridiculous defense, because it wasn't too long ago that Zach Wheeler throws a ball into the dirt and then he ends up scooping it and makes a special double play over at first base, a 1-2-3 double play, which was crazy to end an inning. That might even been an inning where there was it bases loaded with no outs and Zach Wheeler got out of it? For some reason, I feel that was the case. But regardless, does Garrett Stubbs make that play? Maybe not. So I'm trying not to diminish exactly what JT brings, but it's more about the plate than anything else. The difference in the stick of what Garrett Stubbs provides offensively and what JT can do, that's where it really hurts you. But this team has so much offense in the lineup that shouldn't be the difference or not in winning a game on the road against a 500 Boston Red Sox team. You know what I'm saying? So the big difference is offense. There's enough offense. JT's better than Stubbs defensively, but the drop-off isn't so insane that you shouldn't be able to compete. So if the big difference is offense, shouldn't we have enough? Stott, Bryce, Kyle, those three. Boom can get going. Nick, Sosa, Trey coming back, Brandon Marsh coming back. You see my point? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. All right, let's go to the Anytime Hotline and kick things off with Sean.
Sucks about JT, but the Phillies keep winning. I mean, they keep finding ways. It's not pretty by any means, especially offensively, but the starting pitching does the heavy lifting, and that's what Zach Wheeler did tonight. You give him a 2 or 3 run lead, he usually makes it stand up. And I've been saying it all year. You know, we talk about Wheeler and Suarez and Bohm and Harper on the All-Star team. They better save a spot for Matt Strahm. What that guy is doing in a lesser role shouldn't be overlooked. He has been money since the opening game. Came out and dominated. I thought it was a mistake for Thompson to bring him in when he did, but it worked out. And I'm happy that Alvarado bounced back, because I know he was getting heavily criticized after the game Sunday, and I think a lot of it was unwarranted. I mean, he was wild, but he also had some tough luck go against him. But a solid win for the Phils, another Braves loss. I love being double digits up in the standings at this point in the year.
You're damn right, baby. You're damn right. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I remember that Matt Strahm outing, too, because at the beginning of the season, we were all so nervous to actually talk about being the best bullpen in baseball. And if you remember, it was strictly because of PTSD more than it was not believing in some of these performers or some of these athletes and how they could perform. Full transparency, would I ever believe we'd get this version of Matt Strahm? Absolutely not. The reason I bring all this up, though, is when Matt Strahm in the beginning of the season gives that up, you're like, oh my God, look what he has done since. Look what he has done since. That outing was drilled into my brain, and I'm like, really? Come on. This is why we all laughed. Best bullpen in baseball. What are you, drunk? Who put together these statistics? Who put together these numbers to indicate that this core would be this gross? Well, whoever did deserves a damn raise. Oh, Matt fucking Strom. Now, the Atlanta Braves are 35-29. Their run differential, think of the difference here. The Phillies are plus 111, and the Atlanta Braves are plus 27. They are closer to the Washington Nationals than they are the Phillies. They are closer to the New York Mets than they are the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, let's continue to look at what happened in Washington, D.C. when the Atlanta Braves just faced the Nats in a 4-game set. Hold on a second. The Braves went 1-3? And they followed that up. They followed that up with going to Baltimore. And let me see here. Getting shut out. Oh, man. Does it feel good tasting their tears? Long way to go. But this Phillies team's different. And I'm with you on the Alvarado front. I loved every single second of it. He's a damn good reliever. Matt Strom is absolutely filthy. Absolutely fucking filthy. I mean, it's just incredible to think about how dominant he's been. That 8th inning was sick. It was sick. I heard that there were a lot of horny individuals in the Delaware Valley during that 8th inning. Let's go back to the phones.
Kyle shouldn't lead off, they said. Kyle has no power, they said. 2 bombs today, okay? Shut up, you Kyle Schwarber haters. Kyle just stuck it down your throat, all right?
Oh
2 bombs in Fenway. I mean, like, they were at least both 420. One was 444 with 112 off the bat. That was a moonshot. Kyle Schwarber. I mean, it's June. It is June. I'm so excited. It couldn't come, fast enough. I love it so much.
It did take a little bit of time, but I agree with you. There is nothing sweeter in life than when Kyle Schwarber starts to rake. It is so powerful. It is so energetic. It defines the team during that wave. It is scary. I mean, seriously, imagine you're on your home diamond. And by the way, we get to see Nick Pivetta. Ooh, that's going to be lovely. That's gonna be lovely. I can't wait to absolutely smack the ball around the diamond with him. But my point is, you have a first pitch, you're down 1-0. You're at home, first pitch, you're down 1-0. And you got to face Zach Wheeler, or Christopher Sanchez, or Ranger Suarez, or Aaron Nola. And hey, if we get the Taiwan Walker that we got in London, that's even a scary sight. But Kyle Schwarber gives you that lead. And when he's this red hot, teams are afraid, and you can smell the fear. It changes the identity of this team. It really does. Now, this caller continued about J.T. Realmuto and the news.
Yo, I just saw the news about JT being down on the IL. He has to get knee surgery. I don't see this lasting super long, but, to me, it's not the biggest deal that we're losing JT, because it's not like JT is the most impactful player on the field. I'm not saying he's not impactful, but he's not the most impactful. His defense has not been all that great. I mean, he has a couple things, but his arm is like a noodle.
What? You think JT's arm is a noodle? Huh?
And, but I think the problem here is the fact that Garrett Stubbs is now our starting catcher. It's good to have Garrett Stubbs as your backup every now and then for JT, but when Garrett Stubbs is your backup catcher, there's a glaring hole at that position, bat-wise. His arm is good, his defense is fine. It's just the bat. But I think on the bright side, this is a good time to show that, see how Rafael Marchand is, see if maybe he could use him as a trade piece.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't too worried about trade pieces right now, even though there are some reports saying that the Phillies, and it's Jim Bowden again, are active with Luis Robert, so we'll see what happens there. Aiden Miller's off, and Andrew Painter's off. Anybody else we can have a conversation about? I disagree that JT and a noodle arm, unless I heard that wrong. I feel I had to have heard that wrong. But I do agree that Garrett Stubbs every single day is not good, right? Like, it's not good. You just need them to be not destroying you. And so you're right that you could survive without JT. The difference is the way your roster's built and the way many teams have their rosters built. The drop-off between a starting catcher and a backup catcher and a backup catcher having to play every day, is a major difference. So that is going to limit this team's capabilities, but as long as you have the stretch that you do from somebody, whether it's Kyle, Bohm, Trey, Marsh, you should be okay. All right, everybody, thank you all so much for kicking it with us today. I appreciate your love and support, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.